Okay, so hopefully we've got this straight. This is Jeff Taylor,
And E. Brian Cox, the college planning genius.
and we are certified college funding specialists with College Funding Resources. And today's College Planning Minute, we're going to be talking about how do you pay zero for college and the impact of divorce on financial aid. Now, this is going to be a two-part series, and it's not going to be complete. So please do not use this as a guide for your situation. You need to reach out to us so that we can run your specific numbers. Okay, so what we have here, and give us a moment because every time we change the screen, we have to share it through the system we're using. So please be patient with us. Okay, so in this particular scenario, we have a couple who gets a divorce, and now they're wondering, okay, how is that going to impact their eligibility for funding? And in this particular case, it's a positive impact because there is no transfer of assets. Everyone kept their assets. There's no child support involved. It's just a regular divorce. Now, we're not divorce attorneys. And please do not consider this as legal advice because it's not. And again, please do not use this as your personal situation for what you should be doing. We're not advocating divorce or any other decisions for that matter. This is just for entertainment purposes to just look at the impact of a divorce situation on this particular scenario. So what we're going to do first is kind of walk you through the EFC. I think that's important that we take a look at that first.
Well, what's the EFC, Jeff?
Okay, I guess that's a good question, Brian. Okay, so the EFC, elemental PQRSTUV, no, excuse me. The EFC is the expected family contribution. It is a number that is used to determine how much a school is going to award you. And that number is determined by income, assets, number of persons in your family, and several other components that will be calculated when you complete the FAFSA. Our objective when we're working with the family is to review that number long before financial aid paperwork is filled out so that they can know or have a good sense of what they're getting into before they actually complete the FAFSA and then make any necessary changes to improve their capacity to maximize awards. Okay, so did I do pretty good response?
Yeah.
Okay.
The way I like to describe the EFC or expected
I don't know
family.
why he feel like he need to repeat what I just said. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not going to repeat what you said.
Okay, all right.
What I'm going to say is the EFC can be considered as the least amount of money that you're going to be expected to pay. It's sort of like the deductible on your auto insurance and your homeowner's insurance.
Okay.
Use it as a guideline as the least amount of money you're going to pay. So when you get the bill from the college, don't be surprised that they have tacked on some additional funds in the form of a gap, which will be another class down the road.
Okay.
Back to you, Jeff.
My goodness. Okay, so you can refer to that as a formula that determines the parents, the part that the parent will be expected to bring to the table when it comes to paying for college. All right, so in this particular scenario, we have one parent in the household. They are 40. I can't see that even with my glasses on.
49.
That's a shame. My goodness. Yeah. 49 years young.
Bifocal.
I tried bifocals, but they didn't work for me. It just made me dizzy and confused. So anyway, they reside in California. There are 3 people in the household, and they have one student who's going to be attending college. What we did here now, this is just an estimate of their scenario. What we did is that we showed the combined adjusted gross income between both parties. And then on the after side, we're just showing the earned income of the mom, who is the custodial parent in this particular situation. Now, you can see here, this is showing the federal taxes paid of 15 grand. It's obviously not going to be that high. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do, for the sake of conversation, I'm going to reduce that in half. And now there's some tax strategies we can get into, but for now, we're just going to make this applicable for her in this particular situation. So what happens, what we want you to see here is that despite that this mom has $350,000 in her retirement, that her EFC, as expressed in the federal methodology. Now, you have two methodologies. You have what is called the institutional and the federal. To make a long story short and keep it real simple, Brian, what's the difference between the federal methodology and the institutional methodology?
The federal methodology is the formula or algorithm that is used by the federal government to award federal grants, state grants, that sort of thing. The institutional methodology is used by approximately 260 of the more elite colleges in the nation. These are primarily private schools, and they use their methodology to determine how they are going to distribute their own private money.
Okay. Is there any additional facts you want to
Well,
include?
the institutional methodology is a lot more intrusive than the federal methodology. For example, the federal methodology does not count home equity against you.
Okay.
The institutional methodology does take into account the amount of equity that you have in your property.
Okay.
And that would also include rental properties too.
Okay.
So that's just one. There are a number of other different differences that we can get into down the road, but for purposes of today, that's just one that everybody can be familiar with.
Okay. So the federal methodology requires the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. The other methodology requires the profile form. So you're going to have you're going to have a lot of work to do, or more work to involve when you're looking at a school that uses the institutional method. Okay, so for the sake of conversation here, what we wanted to show was how that before this couple was going to get a divorce, their federal methodology EFC was how much, Brian?
$40,599. In other words, the federal government says they can afford to pay $40,599 per year for college.
Okay.
I don't know many people who can do that, but the federal government knows a few.
we got some plans.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, so it's the before scenario shows that while they're married, that they have a very high expected family contribution. Well, that goes to zero after the higher income parent is no longer in the household and they have actually obtained a divorce. Now, again, I'm not advocating divorce for this purpose. That's not the point. We're just trying to show how the impact of divorce on the financial aid picture. Now, the other thing that we want to make mention of is that this is at the time of the FAFSA. So at the time that the custodial parent would complete the FAFSA, the divorce has taken place. All right. So you can see that EFC has been dropped from 40,000 to zero. Now, what does that mean in a general sense, Brian?
Well, if you're at a zero EFC, that means you're eligible for the maximum Pell Grant, which is one of the federal grants. You also get in line for the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, which is made available to the most deserving financially of Pell Grant recipients.
Okay. Now, one of the things that we often hear from parents is we don't qualify for anything. We make too much money. We have too much in assets and income. And we find over and over again, not only is that not true, that there are extraordinary opportunities available to them when they know their numbers. Well, this particular parent came to us in enough time for us to do some strategic planning for them. Then we'll get into that in session 2. So the number one thing we want to focus on here is helping parents to understand that you need to know your EFC and you need to know what factors are influencing your EFC so that you can ascertain whether or not there are strategies that can be used to position you for more funding. Okay, so stay tuned for session 2, where we're going to get into the impact that this lowering of the EFC is going to have on a school that they had in mind, and comparing that school to other schools to see if, in fact, there are even more opportunities for this parent who makes $80,000 per year. If you have any questions, you can reach us at College Funding Resources. Our phone number, contact information is right here. I'm getting ready to share it. You can contact us here. And this is our address. And if you want to call us, you can call us at 248-230-9668 if you have a question. Or you can email us at jeff@payzeroforcollege.com. You know, Brian, he has to be different and have his own personal email the way he wants it. But you can reach him at sojourner47@gmail.com. We are so looking forward to meeting you soon. You can also go to our seminar page on payzeroforcollege.com and feel free to register for any of our upcoming classes. And if you are a school or organization or a company that would like for us to come in and do a workshop on the Pay Zero for College process, we would love to entertain those questions as well. We look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you. Lord have mercy. Yeah, almost.